Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of TCG Talk, back today with another video, and in today's video, I'm going to be doing a gameplay review of my recent Arakni Talistar stream where I played against a Bravo. It ended up being a super close game, and I thought it was just a fun game because I felt like I played the game well, but it's also a matchup that typically is very problematic for Arakni. So I wanted to go over it since the game ended up being really close and see like if it was my play or if it was a mistake on the Bravo's part. We can analyze some of our own mistakes, but also give you my general thought process throughout the game. So if you're new to this channel, new to the stream, welcome. Thank you so much for stopping by. Hopefully you're enjoying my other content. Recently going full-time, I've been able to put out a video a day, so you can expect that, as well as streaming at least 5 days a week, normally during the weekdays. If you're a long-standing supporter, thank you so much as always. Feel free to check out the Discord down below. We're getting a lot of new members with all the content we're making, as well as check out the channel membership. You can join. There's 3 tier sub-levels. All of them have different various levels of benefits, all from getting emotes at the base level to entering the draw into specific content creator playmats at the highest level. So we'll get right into it. This was against a Bravo on my stream. I'm playing back the recording here. So against Bravo, it'll pop up here in a second. Typically, you always want to go first, right? The common mistake I think people make with Bravo is that they try to just fatigue him instead of trying to kill him. You kind of got to do a little bit of both. But regardless, you want to go first because you don't want to get dominated off a crazy attack off the bat and already be down 6-7 life, because that's huge in this matchup. You don't want him to be able to arsenal, and you want to be able to maybe filter a little bit, and maybe if you get really lucky with what you draw on the first turn and he doesn't overblock, you can potentially banish some stuff. So when it comes to the sideboard, again, like my last dagger video, you can do this multiple ways. You can run Spider's Bite and Scale and Nerve Scalpel, and then flick the Nerve Scalpel once you get to silver, and then put in Graven Call, or you can start with Graven Call. There's multiple ways to play it, but that's kind of like either way you want to play it. The rest of the equipment suite is pretty standard. When it comes to the deck, I fat deck everything. I want to try to kill Bravo, yes, and having a tighter deck helps that, but adding in 3 red shreds, 3 humbles, and 3 of the unmovables really doesn't do a whole lot. But for this matchup, we end up drawing in turn 1 into a Slay of Scholars, Annihilate their Arm, and Cut the Chase. So seeking this coercive tendency is very nice. Being able to have this at the start of your second cycle, maybe when you got some D-reacts out of Bravo's hand, it can help you get on a little pop-off turn. So it's really nice seeing that card first and being able to sink it, and it's a really easy card to identify in the pitch deck. So my goal here, honestly, is just to see if he blocks out, play Annihilate the Armed. If he overblocks with all 3 cards, we just arsenal the Slay of Scholars and call it a day. If he doesn't overblock all 3 cards, then we're going to play Cut to the Chase, and we're going to try to take 1 more card out of his hand. When we see Disable, we just really keep it on top because it's not a power card, and we don't want him drawing into a power card on his first turn. So we end up keeping it on top because that will help us be able to maybe not get blown out on his turn. So you only block 6 here, so we're going to play his Cut to the Chase. It does, you're not always going to guarantee you're going to get something to hit against Bravo. So if you can get hit turn 1, that feels really, really good. And we also pop Boots here because we're like, okay, if he doesn't have a D-react, then we're just going to play out Slay of Scholars. I'm going to make him give me a piece of armor, right? Because like in this situation, he either has to just block 3, if he's okay with that, and take it, and another card has been banished, or he's going to give me a piece of armor turn 1, which is more important than me arsenaling a Slay the Scholars. And we ended up banishing a red Pummel, which, yes, it doesn't make that second silver, but it is very huge. And he ends up blocking with Civic Steps here. I think this was a mistake by the Bravo. I don't remember if it ends up costing him or not, but he definitely should have blocked with Crater Fist first. Blocking, I know you don't want to give up Crater Fist late game, but blocking with Civic Steps and giving me an Quicken token doesn't feel very good. So turn 1, we end up giving up 5 cards, or technically 4 cards, right, because of Mask and Boots. But we end up getting rid of 4 cards from his hand, as well as 2 additional cards. So we're already +1, +2 value in cards. He ends up dominating this Bravo attack and Spinal Crushing. So the Quicken token, he got really lucky that he did not get burnt on this play. and giving me a Quicken token by making a Spiral Crush. So my Quicken token no longer matters. So now it matters. Let's see if I pick the same hand. It just matters on like what's the highest damage play. He's not going to have an Arsenal, so Command and Conquer isn't as useful. Blocking with the Command and Conquer early will give me a good Codex target. So really my best plays here are either to play Rob the Rich, which is 5, which is good. It'll either get an armor and a card or 2 cards, and then I can Arsenal the Enlightened Strike or Command and Conquer, or I play out Enlightened Strike for 7, arsenaling another card. Honestly, looking at this now, let's see if the hand ends up staying the same. I probably would block with probably the Enlightened Strike because Rob the Rich is going to force more of a block out of him. And then Arsenal the Command and Conquer. Let's see if that's end up what I do. Yep, I guarantee it's what I end up doing. Because the Command and Conquer is such a good Arsenal target, right? So we don't get to go again here, so it does feel bad. We're down. We ended up playing Command and Conquer. Hold up. Dylan, don't do that. Okay, I made a mistake here. I guess I was trying to play around his defense reactions, but honestly, I shouldn't have done this. I should have played Rob the Rich. I guess my thought process was if he has D-reacts, it's harder for him to, like, value block. And then I arsenaled the Rob the Rich, which, I mean, it's not a horrible play, but you're not wanting to waste your Command and Conquers. The only good thing about what I did was gain a Command and Conquer engrave early for Codex is a really nice target. Maybe I was thinking that line of text, and if that I was, then that kind of makes sense. So we ended up playing Plunder the Poor and blocking 3 on here, or playing Sigil just to do a pseudo block 6. And then we're just going to Spire's Bite and Rob the Rich. And again, this isn't great, but it's not bad either because unless he has Staunch Response, he can't block these 5 powers out with just a D-React, which is really, really nice. He has to give us 2 cards or a D-React in armor. And honestly, we're trying to force out his armor. And since he's on Tunic, his armor is even more important. So we're hoping he doesn't have Staunch Responses. He ends up having a Zealous Belting and a D-React. And I end up flicking this only because, so this isn't as key of a play, but I know I have Concealed Blades in the deck, and I can put Graven Call back in. And when it comes to making silver, Rob the Rich is the best way for me to make silver other than Surgical Extraction, but they're not going to let Surgical Extraction hit. So it does suck getting rid of this early, and it might not even be the right play. It might not. This is a little bit aggressive, right, to get rid of your dagger this early. But I know I'm going to make silver right here, right? So I know I'm going to be able to get boots back or get something back from this Rob the Rich. And we end up getting rid of Arouse the Ancients, right? So not too bad here. So even life total, he's given up 12 cards. I've given up 11. We're about even in deck. Right now, Bravo's still in the lead by far. I have to kind of get a life lead in order to make this worthwhile. He ends up Bravo dominating this. I forgot what he ended up doing. Okay, Spiral Crush. So we go ahead and get rid of the Sigil just because we're not going to need it next turn. We have Already Dead and Arsenal with Tunic up. So we're just going to play out the Already Dead and then Arsenal and the Command and Conquer, I'm assuming. They're really about the same. Lead of Witnesses is slightly actually a better Arsenal target just because we can use it on Cut to the Chase or something like that, but putting either one. So we're going to bottom Terrace Under because I don't think this card's going to hit, personally, and because it's a lot of damage. And so I don't want him having a Terrace Under drawing into his next turn. Again, if you know something's not going to hit and you see a power card, like if you see a power card, the only reason you keep the power card on top is if you know without a shadow of a doubt this is hitting, or like 90% chance. He let it hit, which I was very upset about. I was like, man, I wish I would have not. I guess, whatever. Maybe me bottoming it caused him to not block because he's like, okay, it wasn't a big deal. So this is where the Bravo ends up, just dominating stuff over and over. He's just trying to whittle down my life total. But honestly, with the D-Rack, I was able to play around this. If I was a Bravo, I probably wouldn't have done that. But I ended up seeking the Shred because I could play Plunder the Poor and then Shred it. And that's honestly probably what I should have done. I should have probably kept the Shred, played Plunder the Poor for 4, shredded it, and then tried to play out the Command and Conquer after that. I think that would have been a slightly better play. You are risking the fact that you hit. Like, you want to hit, right? But I think in Bravo, like I said, you got to try to kill them, right? You can't just play for fatigue. You can't just play for value trades because they're just going to beat you if you do that. So in this situation, honestly, shouldn't have bottomed anything. Definitely should have just played out the Plunder the Poor, shredded it, he would have had to majorly overblock, like block by 7 on a Plunder the Poor, which means he's giving up 2 cards in Crater Fist likely, because if he dereacts and plays a 3 block, then I'm going to red shred it, right? But, you know, I end up not doing that. So I'm not saying this is the wrong play. It's still a very good play. Playing Rob the Rich on a Spider's Bite into a CNC, arsenaling a Codex of Frailty is a very good play. But is it the play we want? Blocking with a red pummel here, the second I see this, I know he has an all-red hand. He has an all-red hand. Like, there's no way he doesn't. There's no reason you would ever block with a red pummel as a Bravo on a Spider's Bite to start the play. You just want to do it. So, yeah, he had Choke Slam and a Crippling Crush. So you can just tell Bravo, you know, he hasn't drawn into Crazy Disruption, which has really helped us out. We end up sigilling, just taking this. What we're going to try to do here, yeah, is play this into Leave No Witnesses, into Cut to the Chase, and then hopefully pop Boots and play Codex. And I actually don't remember if this ends up working or not. Bottom of the Macho Grande, maybe we hit a key red on top. Now, it all depends on how much he blocks here. He has to block by 7. I have to play out the Cut to the Chase because I'm going to be playing Codex, and Cut to the Chase will just get taken out if I don't do that. He ends up getting rid of his arsenal to block, so he doesn't feel too bad, but then we just do this and bring it right back. Now, he's going to bring in a really good attack here, likely a Spinal. He doesn't have a Surge or anything, or he's going to be on Tunic, so he could bring back a Crippling, but the Crippling won't be dominated. So even though he does have a Crippling, he has to block this out to allow the Crippling to, you know, be good. And I don't remember if he sinks his Crippling here. He might. No, he doesn't. Okay. He ended up keeping his Crippling in hand, so he's going to probably Surge. Oh, he ends up going and getting a Zealous Belting. Never mind. I apologize on that one. I was even confused in stream. I was like, wait a second. Why do you get a Zealous Belting? So this is a really weird hand. I'm actually interested to see how I would have done this now looking back at it when I'm not in stream. Because playing games in stream is a lot harder to like think through the lines. I'm not going to lie. I don't think as optimally because I'm trying to talk to people, watch chat, make sure my stream's not dying, all that good stuff, right? This is a really interesting hand because he's going to come likely Zealous Belting into an Othos, right? So 10 damage turn. We actually have a decent coercive play here, which is what makes it hard, right? We can end up playing Rob the Rich with Concealed Blade, playing coercive, getting go again, play Slay the Scholars, and then play Humble. So we have to take 10 damage here, but then we deal, because this is going to hit, right? Then we deal 9 plus 6, 15 damage with multiple banishes, and I think that's what we go after here. I hope that's what we go after here. Oh, that's right. The Command and Conquer kind of ruined it. So we can take 6 here, go to 17 to then deal 9. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. I wouldn't do this looking back on it now, but maybe we were feeling a little frisky in the stream, and we did. If you're in a tournament setting, you block this. You just block this. Blocked with a Rob the Rich because at this point, making silver is important, but he's been dominating very well. I want to make sure he doesn't dominate anymore, and I can arsenal this Concealed Blade to try to then go get a dagger back because that's really important for me right now, gain another dagger. And for next turn, if I can arsenal this Concealed Blade, and right here, it forces him to block unless he just doesn't care about dominating me next turn, which he has pummels in the deck, but he's blocked with 1 pummel, and 1 pummel's been banished. So I know right now, unless he's rocking blue pummels, which I haven't seen any in his pitch stack, he's going to want to dominate things to try to like close out the game. He can't really close out off of a pummel unless he gets really lucky with that last pummel. He ends up chop blocking this, which tells me he probably wasn't going to dominate anyway. And so that ends up happening. And we just arsenal a Concealed Blade, and we're hoping that we hit with this Concealed Blade later, bring in Graven Call or Scale Peeler, and really be off to the races. So Concealed Blade here, we have a Concealed Blade and a Shred in hand. So we're able to really value block here. And then hopefully come in with a good Concealed Blade. You can see me thinking about it. That's why I was hovering over my arsenal. My play here, honestly, would be let the Zealous Belton go, take 5, go to even life parity. Oh, I get rid of the Shred. Oh, because I'm trying to Arsenal the Unmovable. That's another play line. So there's 2 play lines with this thought process. You have the aggressive play line, the defensive play line. We're 5 life ahead right now, which is really, really good for this matchup. If we can stay 5 to 6 life ahead and keep pressuring his life total, then we're in a good spot. So the aggressive line is let this hit, pitch Unmovable to play Surgical, blocking out all six of the Anothos. Then play Slay the Scholars with a Shred and a Concealed Blade in hand, get it to hit and go get our dagger, but we don't have an arsenal, right? The safe line is block the Shred. Doesn't matter which one we block it on. Just block 3 power with sorry, my cat wants to play. Just block 3 power. Let the Anothos hit, which does suck a little bit. Pitch into Spider's Bite, play Slay the Scholars, and then hopefully, get Slay the Scholars a hit because they don't care as much because it's just Slay the Scholars. And then Arsenal the Unmovable, because what they might try to do is they might try to hold cards for a big dominate turn, right? So if we Spider's Bite here, Arsenal Unmovable, we can say, like, okay, because they have a full 5-card hand. We let Slay the Scholars hit, and they're like, sweet, you really didn't do much to me. I don't care. I'm just going to dominate you to death. But then they get blown out by an Unmovable. The only thing we get blown out by here is CNC, but I think he's used 2 and one's been banished, or he's used 1, one's been banished. So he blocks 4 equally here, which is so perfect for us. This ends up hitting, and we go get. Oh no, it doesn't, because he has a Fate Foreseen. So that felt a little bit bad, but that's why we made the safe play, because now we at least have an Unmovable and Arsenal that we can use. And it's, if we would have played around that and we would have had Yellow Shred, we still wouldn't have hit, because Yellow Shred wouldn't have taken away the whole D-React. So if we would have played aggressive there, we would have got blown out. We have a 4 life lead total here, and honestly, this is a terrible blocking hand. So what I want to do here is pitch the Spider's Bite. I'm going to overpitch with the Unmovable, so I don't have 2 Unmovables in hand, and then play CNC here. Or I might take the Unmovable out. Okay, so yeah, I did this. I honestly probably wouldn't have done that. This isn't necessarily a mistake. I just don't think it's efficient at all. I think here what I do is take this, stay even on life total, pitch the Unmovable and the Codex for 1 Spider's Bite, 1 floating, and then play Command and Conquer out with Concealed Blade and just keep the Unmovable in Arsenal. Because playing out an Unmovable from Arsenal, it normally blocks 8, and then getting rid of my second Unmovable, that's a mistake. That's really inefficient. I want to keep an Unmovable in hand or in Arsenal in order to, prevent a really bad blowout turn. And then also, I didn't even get the Spider's Bite here. I just played a straight up CNC. So now I have no Arsenal. Yes, I'm still a 4 life lead, which is nice, and that's what you want. But overall, sorry if y'all see the cat here. This cat wants to be my best friend this morning. Yeah. And I drew into another Unmovable, which I'm like, holy crap. If you're watching this video, check out the stream today. I end up changing some things in my list just for my meta specifically. I have a lot of Guardian in my meta, along with Levia and even a couple Dromai, but I've kind of just shanked the Dromai list. I say that because I've gotten rid of Plague Hive. It's just too much of a liability in this matchup. Luckily, we don't get burnt too bad. We end up keeping an Unmovable in hand, but we only, we weren't able to do much with it. So, as you can see, current game state, right? We're at 41 cards, they're at 41 cards, and we're at 4 life lead. So, we're not going to beat them off fatigue. We're not, because they have an Othos, right? And unless we get our Graven Call and we get our Graven Call to 2 power somehow in a very short amount of time, they're just going to outvalue us. So, we have to try to kill them. And that's the thing with Bravo. You cannot fatigue Bravo unless there's a bad Bravo. You have to try to kill them at all times. You just have to. So they had a horrible hand. Zealous Belton, Crippling Crush, Chokeslam. We end up immovably in this off of Tunic. And then we're going to E-Strike for 7. And then our Star Sync Blow. So again, we're starting to get slow incremental value. As long as they don't have D-Reacts, we're going to chip away, have a damage here, have a damage here, have a damage here, and then hopefully get them down to a life total where they have to start really respecting us. But we've gotten a little lucky. We haven't gotten blown out. I mean, they haven't played a good Crippling. They have played some good Spinals, some dominated Spinals, some dominated Debilitates, but we've played around them, right? Banishing that pummel turn one was huge, and then them being forced to block with a pummel, their second pummel, because of all red hand, was also equally huge, because they were trying. Since they had a crippling in hand, they were trying to prevent me from being able, to value block that. So he tries to hold cards here, which is good for us. We got the arsenal and sink below. So he held cards here, which I thought he had pummel here for sure. I was like, there's no way this guy doesn't have pummel. Why else would you hold cards? Why would you not block with that last card? Do you really want the arsenal? My only thought was maybe that last card's a D-react, and, he didn't want to. But if it was a D-react, he would just blocked out the Enlightened Strike. So, I was just waiting for this to be a pummel. And when he thought about it, I was like, okay, it's definitely a pummel, right? Like, it has to be. Honestly, looking back at this block, though, 1 damage is not going to kill me here. I was 7 life total lead, right? Block with the Humble and the Eradicate. Keep the Eradicate in hand so you can pitch the Spider's Bite and keep getting that 1 point of value that they don't want to block. Definitely should have done that. Should have blocked 5, gone down to 19, and then use that Spider's Bite in this situation as much as humanly possible. It's like a Kadachi that no one wants to block, right? So using that Spider's Bite would have been huge. Instead, I don't get to do that. I should have definitely done that. It'd be 13-19 right now. I deal 5 back to him with a significant on hit. He doesn't know what's in my arsenal. Could overblock, all that good stuff. So, really should have done that. Always think about how you can get little cheats points of value, right? And evaluate, is this block really is more value than this block, right? What am I going to do on my offensive turn, right? Does blocking 5, taking 1, but then sending 5 back with a harder to block leave no witnesses, in my mind, both numerically and just feel-wise, that's better than blocking 1 more point of value, but throwing out a cold leave no witness, right? He ends up overblocking here, though, which is really good for us. So he wants to keep this arsenal, which tells me I think this arsenal is a pummel, because this is the card he didn't block with before. And I think he's really trying to set up for a big pummel play. And so we end up Spider's Bite and a Humble, which is a good play for us. 7 damage with, making the Humble harder to block, And we're starting to really get close to pressuring that life total now, right? We need to get to the single digits to where that he has to start caring about that Spider's Bite very intently. And he ends up laying Humble hit. So I was like, okay, this is interesting, right? You only blocked 2. He chop blocked. I think this is where the Bravo made the mistake, but it can happen. People don't play against Arakni a lot, and they mess up, right? He ends up playing CNC, so I was like, okay, this has to be a CNC pummel. He just chop blocked. He kept a card in hand, kept his card in arsenal. He's got to have pummel. But in this situation, normally I don't like playing around pummel, but in this situation, you got to make him have it. So how do you not get blown out the best here, right? So you want to have something to play on your turn. So you're thinking about the worst case scenario is he pummels here, he blows out my arsenal, and he blows out a card from hand. But I don't want to just take 10, because that feels really bad. I just nullified all this work I've done to get to this life total. So looking at my hand, what can I play off of? Essentially, if I block with 2 cards here to make him have the pummel, what can I play off a 1-card hand? It's Plunder the Poor. So really what I have to do is have to block with Rob the Rich and Already Dead here, make him have the pummel. If he pummels me, you get rid of the Humble, and then you play the Plunder the Poor. It's not ideal, but it's the best play you got, right? Let's see if I do that. If I don't do that, I'm going to kick myself in the head. Oh, I end up playing around the pummel here. That's right. I end up playing around the pummel here. Okay, this is the other time. This is the one time. Hold up. I just remembered this. I literally just made a worse play later in time. This is hilarious. So this is his last Command and Conquer. He played one earlier. He had one banished, right? So this is his last Command and Conquer. So his biggest play to blow me out is CNC pummel. That's his biggest play, right? So if I can prevent this CNC pummel from hitting, I get to keep the sink below my arsenal, and now when he tries to pummel, I can at least play out sink. The reason this sucks so bad right now is I can't play the sink from my arsenal. But if I block this out, even if he has the pummel later, I still can, I still can play out the sink later, so it's not as big of a deal. So what I should have done here, though, I screwed up. Okay, so if I would have blocked with Already Dead, Rob the Rich, and Flick Knives, that's 7. Right? and then Humble would have been 8-9. I would have had to, if in order to play out Plunder the Poor next turn, I would have had to also get rid of Tunic. I don't want to do that. So we end up playing around the Pummel here. Now, is that the right play, wrong play? I think it is. I think it's the right play. We're up 9 life. This is huge, right? And we can get rid of our 2 block in Humble and also Spider's Bite him, which he doesn't want to block, but it's going to take him one step closer to 0. Yep, that's me checking the pummels. There's the second pummel. Yep. And he's played all 3 Command Conquers. So now if he pummels us, we can at least really kind of play around it and mitigate it, right? So huge play there. Very risky play. But we're not going to use Flick Knives again. So us like getting rid of Flick Knives isn't that big of a deal at this point. It is a big deal because we get them down to 1 and finish the game off. That does suck, but I think we're at enough of a life total now to where we can pressure the life total with Spider's Bites, where we can really close this game out. So he ends up Bravo dominating. He has a unmovable and imposing Visage in hand, which is really crappy for him. We have a really awkward hand, though, too, to be honest with you. We probably should have played Sync there and Arsenal to Fate and just try to filter our hand a little bit, but we'd have drawn into a Sync, so at least we know in our heads it wouldn't have made a difference. And again, just use his Spider's Bite as much as humanly possible. Make his blocks worse. He took 1 there because no one wants to block that, but now he has to block with 2 cards here on Annihilate the Arm. He doesn't have to, but he probably wants to. Blocks Warmonger's Diplomacy and Terra Sunder, which is probably why he ignored the Spider's Bite. But again, we're getting closer to 0. Now he's going to have to really actually start respecting that Spider's Bite, which feels really bad for him. So in this situation, what we want to do is we want to sync. He can't pummel here. So we just want to sync this. I would sync the Fate for Scene. Let's see if that ends up being what we do. Or syncing one of the D-reacts. And then trying to draw into Pitch for Already Dead is what we're trying to do. Actually, maybe I Fate first and see what's on top. It's a blue. So let's see if I make the mistake here. I should sync this so I can go. Yeah, I didn't do that. I should have. What I should have done is either you sync first and just, that's a mistake I just made. In this situation, we're up 9 life. We want to keep pressure, right? So we need to find a way to be able to play out this Already Dead with this Shred. Either we do one of 2 things. Either you just blind sync and hope you draw into a blue, or you Fate and then you overblock just because you're gonna keep a good hand anyway. Get the Surgical, play out Already Dead, and force them to have something really good because we can get them down to 2 off. Like, this is a safe. I kept making the safe play, which is fine, but the problem is us in the Bravo's actually at a higher card count than us right now, so they can make this trade. They can block 6, right? They can block 6 and then just swing an Oath those bad guys, and we're losing this trade value. So we have to be aggressive here. In that situation, definitely should have, know when it's time to turn on the gas. We're up not 8 life right now. Turn on the gas, right? Fate, look for a blue. You see the blue, sync. Doesn't matter if you block a 6 power Nothos by 2. Does not matter. We got really lucky that they think this is a cut to the chase, and they overblocked. So we got lucky there. But imagine if we would have. So actually, in that situation, the red Shred wouldn't have helped. But we don't know that, right? We don't know that. Honestly, since he overblocked like that, we should not block at all to make them think that this is still a reaction. Just don't block. Yep. So in this situation, we play out Rob the Rich, pitching the Surgical Extraction, or we play out Surgical. Yeah, we play out Surgical, pitching this, play Coercive Tendency, look for a blue, give it go again, and play Annihilate the Arm to help in this game. Because they kind of got to overblock this pretty heavily. Yep. And then you blow them out with Annihilate the Armed. This is where Coercive Tendency is just a good freaking card. Yep. There's the Macho Grande. Honestly, should definitely take the Macho Grande. Yep. Gives it go again. And then we play Annihilate the Arm. And now, if they don't have a D-React, they literally have to give me all their armor to not let this hit. But we just made silver, and we got some block back and some value here. We sync the Debilitate because we're like, you know what? I want to try to get rid of that Starstruck, and if you block this out fully, that's fine. you're gonna draw up into a Starstruck, but I'm gonna have a full hand, and you're gonna have to block with it because you're gonna be at such low life total. And another coercive play, which is really nice. But they don't have many yellows in their deck. So in this situation, I think you just pitch I think we pitched Rob the Rich. We could have played out Rob the Rich with Eradicate and then Coercive, but it's not worth it. We already have the Quicken token from the Civic Steps, so we don't need to do that. We don't want to waste the Coercive here. I want to use Spire's Bite. I need to use Spire's Bite here. He's trying to keep that Starstruck. We know he has a Starstruck in hand, but now, we're making him block with it. Honestly, yeah. We are going to sink Crippling just in case he blocks us out. We shred this. If he has a D-React, he has a D-React, so be it. Gosh, that was annoying. Maybe he was making us have it. Honestly, we probably should have waited for the D-React because we deal a point of damage and we get rid of a card anyway. And now, because we have worked so hard to have this higher life total, now he has to start caring about Spire's Bite. Every turn, he has to start caring about it. Just straight up. Honestly, in this situation, with Black Tech's up, this is another mistake by me. Play Plunder the Poor first. If you ever have Black Tech Whisperers up and you have a major on-hit card, like Leave No Witnesses, Eradicate, Surgical, Command and Conquer, whatever, right? Well, Command and Conquer's not as applicable. Assassin, a major Assassin on-hit card, and like for him, Rob the Rich is another one. But then you have a Plunder the Poor, which is one that he doesn't really care as much about. Play Plunder the Poor first, because at his life total, he's probably going to fully block it out, right? Like overblocked where you can't use a shred, but there is a chance where he might try to chop block it to try to keep tempo to come back. So because of that, play Plunder the Poor first, try to look, monotonous, not that big a deal. And then you play out the Leave No Witnesses after you activate Black Text. Now we got lucky here that he did not play around Cut to the Chase or Shred. But, teach their own. Still there's that third pummel. So that shows you that when we overblocked that CNC pummel, that was the right play. That was the right play. So now we got Plunder Poor. So unless he has a D-Reactor, he gives us Tunic. We're going to hit another point of damage here. He does end up giving us Tunic. And now we're actually ahead of him on life total. So now we can really start to punish him. That Sync being stuck in Arsenal really sucks because we can't play out Codex. We need to pitch the Coercive here and a Surgical. That's like the best play we have. Honestly, in this situation, we should have overpitched. We should have pitched a movable first. Or we can do it this way, and keep Codex in hand. Well, we end up keeping unmovable in hand. I don't agree with this one. Unless we're going to sink away the unmovable, that's always an option. Sorry, the kitties want to walk in front of me. They think that this is their play place. So we're at 4 here. He ends up half taking that, which I found to be extremely awkward. He made some improper blocking decisions, but like everybody will point that out, but that happens, right? I can tell you right now, I am not a Michael Hamilton. I am not a freaking crazy, amazing player, but I have played against very talented players. And I can tell you right now that even talented players play against crap. Even talented players block improperly. Even talented players make the wrong play. You have to present them. That's the whole fun part about Arakni and about Katsu and why I've loved these heroes is because they present you questions that really make it crappy for you, right? That make you make that mistake. So he ends up having to give us 3 cards here, which is huge for us. And at this point, we are looking to deck them out. Like, we're going to deck them out. Unless they just absolutely destroy us here. We can value block this pretty easily. He had a Frailty token, which made that even worse. And his Inertia gets rid of whatever card was in his arsenal. And then here, we just keep saying, give us a card. And he's not going to. He's gotten pissed at this point. We have a Conceal Blade in arsenal. Yeah. In this situation, he kind of has to block with... He kind of has to even block here. He can't afford to not even block because he can't give us 3 cards again because he's just going to deck out, and then he quits. So we ended up winning that game. Ended up dealing 135 total damage. Had a value turn of 10, not too bad. But yeah, it shows you the game's winnable. You have to try to kill them, right? We got really unlucky banishing a pummel turn 1. We forced them to block with a pummel on another turn because they had all red hand, and then we played around that third pummel, right? This is definitely not the slower fatigue Bravo. This is more of a tempo Bravo, but Bravos are playing both ways, and it shows you the matchup is winnable if you're doing the right things, right? And we even made a couple mistakes this game. So it was really fun watching that over and seeing it was fun watching several turns where I thought currently right now making this video, I would do it this way, when in the moment I did it a different way. And it shows you how crazy the deck can be. But hopefully you enjoyed this type of content. If you did, please leave a like, comment, or subscribe. If not me, it's totally fine. Go to another Flesh and Bug creator, leave a like, comment, subscribe on their stuff so we can get more people seeing this game. Feel free to check out the Discord and the channel membership down below if you want to support the content in a different way. I'd really appreciate it. If not, though, it's totally fine. And yeah, I'll see y'all next time on TC Talk. See y'all in stream.